Morning all. Just finished the long run for the week and hope you've all had an active morning thus far. Really good news down here in Melbourne. Congratulations to everyone for getting through the last few months with the ending of lockdowns. It's been really good to see local businesses open back up again, and also a plan for gyms to get back again too. So really excited for all our patients that work in these places, and also just our community as well, to see that get up and going. And as we've often espoused and others have been too, is to support local. So support these businesses that have been affected in the last few months. What we're going to talk about today was actually a post that we had during the week, and it's a question we often get asked in those that suffer Achilles tendons, and that's with these Achilles, those suffer Achilles tendinopathy. They often have thickness in the tendon and sometimes some lumps and bumps, and they'll sort of ask us, what does this mean, and is this a bad thing? I've noticed this, it's really thick, or I can see it's really thick here. And our response to this is actually, that's great. It's actually the body's normal process of adapting. It's getting stronger. It's putting some really nice strong tissue around that tendon. And we know that some work done by Sean Docking, and he basically did some imaging, and what they found was that in these thick Achilles tendons, it's actually the same amount of normal tissue as a normal tendon. And what actually happens is that in the middle of the tendon here, you get some disrepair, some tissue that's not quite as strong as what it could be. So what the body then does is it lays around this really strong tissue around the outside. And this is an analogy that Sean actually refers to as the donut and the hole. So we've got this hole in the middle of the tissue that's not quite as strong as it could be, and then you get this strong tissue around the outside of it. And so that's what makes it actually, this tendon makes it actually look thicker, is because you get this adaptation of this strong tissue. So that's actually a good thing. And so what we say to reiterate to those suffering Achilles tendinopathy is that don't worry about the size. It's actually something that will likely be thickened like that for always. You can sometimes see some changes. It's never a sign of progress, so we never look for that thinning of the tendon to suggest there's progress there. And we also don't look at soreness, because a lot of people will touch and poke their tendons and sort of say, oh, it still hurts. They can often be very sore and sensitive for quite a while. So don't touch your tendons, okay? They will be sore. It's not a sign of progression that we look for. What we do look for sign of progression is we look for your pain on your day-to-day task. We look for pain on whatever sport you might be doing, so that might be running. And we also look at function, so we look at strength. And there was a study released this year earlier by Corrigan, and what they found was that those with thickened tendons did tend to have a not as good an outcome as a year later in pain and function. And so again, that just reiterates the importance of doing proper rehab, and that's just not waiting for the pain to go down, because we know that in those with Achilles tendinopathy, the pain may go away, but their function actually doesn't restore if they don't do the right rehab. And so as a result, they often suffer recurrent relapses, and they just tend to have ongoing issues down the track. So really important, if you're suffering from Achilles tendinopathy, firstly, don't worry about the thickness of the tendon. Secondly, don't worry about that pain on touch. And thirdly, make sure that you do some proper rehab and guided through all the phases there to ensure that you've got a nice, strong tendon and a properly functioning body there. Any questions, don't hesitate to hit us up in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll catch you next week, guys. Have a great weekend.